Deleted.
Yeah, I'm gonna delete that one.
Deleted.
I'm gonna delete that one too.
3 years of work gone. You ever start a project out of pure excitement? You ever have a dream of something that you've always wanted to achieve? You've always wanted to do. And you start it, and you have no idea what you're doing.
The project becomes so important, you're scared to mess it up. Put too much weight on it.
It starts to burn you out. It starts to make you depressed. How do you come back from that?
How do you come back from that 3 times?
Did I waste all 3 years of development of working on something I really cared about?
Did I throw it all away?
Where did it get me?
Oh, it got me here.
Whoa, okay.
This is nice.
Okay, yeah.
This is nice. Okay,
Look at this. You ever see a crystal like
Nuh-uh.
this? I've never seen a crystal like this.
Would you?
Whoa, he's gonna pick up. Whoa, he's picking up the crystal. He's picking up the crystal.
Don't break it.
Put
Don't
out,
break
put it out,
it.
put it out.
Halt.
Can't be anxious like that, man. You can't live life like
You
that.
can't be fragile about this kind of thing.
Even when you're at your lowest, you know, it's not gonna save you. You know, only you can.
We all hit the dirt. But that's soil. Things grow pretty good in soil.
I'd say it started as a drawer, and then I got into games. It's a really common experience to have a dream where you're a garden gnome, and you're like, I'm gonna get you off a garden gnome. We've all done that. It's a really common experience.
That's essentially the idea behind my dream game, Garden Guardians.
Imagine you are 1 feet tall, and this is your garden. I might have some plants over here. I might have some plants over here, maybe some mushrooms over here. It's your garden. But there are forces out there that are trying to destroy your garden.
The litter bugs are attacking!
The garden is saved!
Thanks, Garden Guardian.
Bugs,
Talk to him.
if I catch
What are
you
you gonna do?
in this garden again,
Okay. Get him! Oh! Get him! Get him!
I was so scared they were gonna burn down the village. I was sitting there, I was scared. I was like, oh, I hope they don't burn down the village. Garden Guardians is the ultimate garden gnome game. Play as a garden gnome, grow a garden community, and guard it against the litter bugs. And for my gamers out there, it's an immersive sim survival sandbox. What kind of garden guardian are you?
Are you a stout gnome, using pebbles to protect your allies and knock back your enemies? Maybe you're a nimble gnome, using leaves to set up traps, make healing wraps, and swing through the trees. Maybe you're a whimsy gnome, using the power of music and art to heal and support your allies with flower magic. Oh, but you might be a mischief gnome, a silly mushroom mage that uses the power of the elements for battlefield control. And maybe, just maybe, you might be the esoteric imagination gnome. Tap into the pure creativity of gnomes and the divine inspiration of nature. You'll use crystals, rainbows, starlight, all to inspire and enchant your allies in this complex utility caster class. Now, all gnomes start as the same gnome. You'll actually get to customize your own gnome.
And these 5 words, stout, nimble, whimsy, mischief, and imagination, these are actually the 5 main stats to my garden gnome game. And each class scales off a different stat. You choose your class by deciding which part of the garden you want to craft your tools and armor out of. If I wanted to craft my stuff out of this stick, it would scale off stout and give me warrior and tank abilities, where leaves would give me ranger abilities and scale off nimble. What kind of garden guardian are you? Let me know in the comments below. Personally, I think I'm an imagination whimsy gnome.
And we can play it, right? Well, we could walk around. It looks a bit yellow. Okay, Mr. Art Guy. Where's the gameplay? I haven't seen any gameplay. It was when I flew to Phoenix, Arizona for my first playtest. It was the first time anybody has ever played something I've made. And it was fun. Now, you couldn't play much, but the idea was to have at least something. Some people might call it a vertical slice. It had player choice, it had meaningful impact, there was a way to win and lose. Technically, it was a complete game. It just wasn't a fully fleshed out game. So I was thinking, just add content horizontally.
Dude, this is crazy.
I could add new plants or barricades, new weapons or enemies, all based on player feedback and iteration. On the plane ride home, all I could think about was new ideas, new exciting concepts. Yeah! I have so many new ideas. We had such good feedback on the playtest. I'm gonna open up the project files and I'm gonna get to work. Oh, I forgot. I did not. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I forgot. I don't actually know how to code. See,
Yikes.
I've only ever made one game before. Play as Craig Croaky, a frog who is late for a birthday party, and you gotta hop across town in order not to miss your friend's birthday party. Hop over enemies or spit at them to not get croaked.
Don't get croaked, don't do it.
Now I'm thinking this is plenty experience to make a highly complex Dwarf Fortress inspired modular simulation game.
So quite clearly, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Plus, I'm getting home from work, I'm exhausted. I just want to go in bed, I just want to go on TikTok. Even though it's my dream game, it feels like because it's so important to me, I'm too precious about it and I don't want to mess it up. If only there was a way to force myself to do it without force.
That's like Star Wars.
Space Control, this is Houston, over.
H-Town, what's up?
How's the lightsaber crafting interface going?
I'm having a lot of fun, actually, yeah, it's pretty good.
So, you're gonna have to explain why you've been making a spaceship game, out of space game, instead of a gnome game. Or else you're out of here, buddy.
Okay.
I was thinking, if I'm being too precious about my gnome game, and I don't know how to make a modular Fallout 4 style crafting system,
Which is the entire player power.
let me start a new project with a completely separate aesthetic. Then I don't care about the art. I'm just thinking about the code. What about the code? I spent about 7 months alternating between this and doom scrolling on TikTok.
And specifically, it's basically just a crafting prototype. I was basically just learning how to make stuff.
Because if you're having fun while you're learning way better. And this whole system is based on something called data tables. It's like a really fancy Excel sheet, but I can make each row a required ingredient for the recipe of an object. So each column is its own object. Does that make sense? So I have 2 data tables, one for the material
And one for the 3D model.
It is only visual in this prototype though. It's just the model and the texture. Why'd the music stop?
I don't know, buddy. This is a spaceship game. And now you're telling me it's only visual? What are you doing making a spaceship game?
What am I doing making a space game? I can't make a space game, I'm a gnome guy. I gotta make a gnome game. See, I've always tried to process my emotions through art. But the fact that it's not a nature game makes it so much harder for me to connect to my art like that. What about the art? But what about the art? Womp, 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 womp. Whoa! Wow, it's like I'm really outside. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. Nothing else.
If you're
like
interested in how I found my art style and how you can find your own art style, my last devlog tells you how to do that. I'm aiming for cozy, but really action-packed. Look how action-packed this is. Dude, he's crushing it. Look at him. Oh, he's crushing it. It's so hard. Dude, I'm rooting for him. Right hook. Right hook. There's only one animation. I do like being first person. I think I keep wanting to look up at the trees, but with third person, you can see the gnome more. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Around this time, I had also figured out a whole calendar system. It's actually running the day and night cycle. See, in video games, the more things running at once, what we call tick, the laggier it is. So I'm thinking if I primarily have this calendar system running, this time system, and then I can tie everything in the game to this calendar system. Plant cycles, NPC behavior, events. I can set all those to trigger on a time of day, season, day of the week, anything like that. It's way more efficient, which is good for me because I did not optimize any of the foliage. I don't know how to do that. Speaking of, it's actually unplayably laggy, yet the only playable version is hard-coded onto that specific level. And so I've been making all this art and day and night cycle and calendar system and customization for something that you can't even play. It's a complete mess. The code is, it's a complete mess. It's like impossible to add on to it. But people are really excited about the art. Like 3 years and I have no progress, and what progress I do have, I can't use, really. I need to remake all of this structural code, which is something I've never done before. I don't know how to do that. I don't even know if the art I've spent 9 months making will even fit in a playable system. I don't want to let people down, but I feel like a snake oil salesman. Oh, no. The more I show people, the more excited people get, and the more pressure I feel to be able to do something that is an impossible task. I don't know how to game dev. I'm a drawer. Maybe I should just stick with what I know. Because unfortunately, art does not exist in a vacuum, and my real life is crumbling all around me as I'm trying to prop up this paper tiger of a game. Despite years of work, there's no fruits of the labor. I'll work for a few months and then I'll get burnt out and not work for my car's breaking down. I'm getting fired from my job because I suck. Meanwhile, everyone's asking me, hey, how's your game coming? How's your game coming? It's not, dude. Like, let me be honest. Like, it's not. I'm doing overnights at Home Depot.
I feel like obsession at some point turns into rumination. And I can't stop ruminating about this and everything else going wrong in my life. And every self-help book is just telling me to meditate. I don't know how to meditate. Wait, how do you meditate? Is there a game that teaches you how to meditate?
Our plant's here, right? They're growing strong. Look at him, he's so happy. Wow. But then, whoa!
There's an anger cloud that's like raining on his parade, literally. And then that's growing like angry weeds. And it's like, oh, I'm so angry, and that's infiltrating. That's infiltrating the mind, right? And then now he's no longer happy. Now he's sad. Or no, this is an angry one. So he's angry, and then he has more thought clouds of like, oh, I'm angry. Ah! And then the cycle continues.
I was angry about everything. I was angry about where I was in life, the mistakes I've made, wasting development time, and I was turning that inward. It was manifesting as anxiety, but that anxiety was perpetuating a lot of my issues.
I think this is looking pretty all right.
The idea was a mobile game that teaches you how to meditate. You'll have plants that grow in your garden, but they make thought clouds that block the sunlight. So you have to breathe in and tap and hold the screen to grow the sun, and then there'd be different thought clouds of emotions that you'd tap and hold on and breathe out to disperse them.
And then how do you solve it? It's because your like intentional thought is like, oh, it's just an angry thought. Things aren't actually that bad. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm thinking myself in a cycle. And then when there's no more angry rain, all the angry weeds, they go away, right?
My entire life, I've been using art as a journaling method to view my own emotions. But now I'm growing up and trying to follow my dreams. And here I was on a brand new map, solo queuing, under-leveled, I don't have the best in slot gear, unoptimal build. I looked at myself. I thought, well, I always use art to channel my emotions. I could write a poem about it. I can make a drawing about it. But I think I do want to be a game dev. Because I do want to make this game, and all these other games. So I need a way to make games easy.
Think about it like this. How many games can you play with a deck of playing cards? An infinite amount of games, but there's only 52 cards. Well, you can have the same cards, but just change the game rules, and then you have different games. So I was thinking, because I want to make so many different kinds of games, what if I spent my time learning how to make cards?
Dwarfed over. This is Dwarf Depot. Over. We noticed you haven't showed up to your shift in a few weeks. We're just wondering if there's something we can do.
I got a job working overnights doing dwarf delving for Dwarf Depot. I gotta go to dangerous caves, get supply for the largest, reliable, blue-collar, hard hands working dwarf supply store in the community, and I've been working overtime. See, I want to make a bunch of different types of games, but if I was able to make a deck of cards, at least a deck of blank cards, the game systems are going to be the same. I can just swap out the art and the game rules and have an infinite amount of games. See, this is a direct continuation of what I figured out how to do in the crafting prototype, but back then, it was only visual. I was able to swap the model and the textures, but that was the extent of my knowledge. I broke down every object into two parts. There's the form and the substance. The form is what it looks like, what it is, what it does, and the substance is the texture that you see, as well as a whole suite of properties like density, melting point, combustion.
So because the form is separate from the substance, I can tie a bunch of different code to that substance, and it doesn't overload the system because I actually load them all at once into a library. And then all the objects just have an ID. And the ID is like, hey, when I need to play a sound, I just go to the library, I give them my ID, and then the library's like, oh, this is made out of wood. Here's the wood sound. But I can tie anything to that, like abilities. So no matter if you want to use a staff, a bow and arrow, a sword, if they're made out of leaves, you'll get the ranger ability.
So this system, which I call the rock system, is not hard-coded. I learned a valuable lesson in keeping the code and the art separate. So the coded system can work with any game. And I can make it look completely different, make it behave completely different, but I've done a lot of the coding work beforehand. I paused development on Dwarf Delvers because I could use the same system for Guardians, and it will be the same amount of work to make that playable than to make Dwarf Delvers playable. In other words,
更简单.
So the plan, we're gonna start all the way over. New project, and we're gonna avoid all the mistakes. That's the new plan. I am more committed to this game than anything else in my life. Literally blood, sweat, and tears. Quite literally. I'm selling my plasma to make grocery money. And I'm always crying. What's the last one? Sweat?
first, Make a new world and make sure it's not laggy. I made a bunch of really low quality assets because if I'm not able to make this optimized, I sure can't make the pretty one optimized. I learned my fancy grass was over 1,000 polygons per blade. I was using SpeedTree. SpeedTree blows in is $25 a month. I'm using Blender now. I just figured out how to make geometry nodes. And I was gonna make geometry node trees, but Unreal 5.7 is completely overhauling the foliage, so I'm gonna wait till then. And I'm just gonna use the old trees for now, but I'm gonna recreate them in the new system. Though I did upscale them. I brought back in the painted filter. Obviously, that's a must-have. Now, it's pretty hard to run, but I made sure everything else is as clean as possible, so we're hitting FPS. Now, be honest, who knows what a birch tree is because of Minecraft? That's the idea behind adding real-life counterparts. So I added limestone, feldspar, granite, red sandstone, a bunch of different types of rocks, and I did the same for the crystals. Obviously, I'm adding the classics, diamond, ruby, sapphire, but I also want to add lesser known ones like rhodochrosite, amazonite, and I'm also counting amber as a crystal. What's your favorite crystal? Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll add it. But remember, these aren't visual. These are rock objects. I can pick it up, I can put it down, I can equip it, and I want it to be a full immersive sim. So I want you to be able to throw any object. I want it to make a sound. I want it to attract enemies. And as you can see, it's first person. I was able to literally just swap the animations in the model of the dwarf with the gnome. It's gonna work right out the box. Now, I would say animating is probably what I'm weakest at in terms of game development. So tweaking the model and tweaking all the animations will be a constant battle as we continue in these devlogs.
Now I think I'm ready to show you where we're at. So while there's no gameplay loop, it is an interactive sandbox, but I think it would just be cooler if I just showed you. And if you want to help this project, share this video with a friend.
So here's just a really basic housing system. The idea is what you put the door on decides what the room looks like. I reused the crystals, but I did change the texture. Here I added some clovers as well. I love clovers, they're one of my favorite plants. Same with the aspen trees, so there are aspen leaves all over the ground. You can't quite interact with them yet though. I recorded all the sounds just into my microphone. I just knocked some crystals with each other, some minerals, and some sticks. I'm experimenting with a little bit of a cartoony outline on the creatures, and probably nearby interactable objects you're looking at. I need to do some work though. I added some sticks to the ground, and here's an up-close shot of the crystals. I did add a texture to the crystals. I really like how these turned out. Ideally, the islands would be procedural, but until then, this is going to be the level that all the devlogs are on.
See, life tends to be a lot like this river, and a journey is a lot like this leaf. See, we can set the artist on their journey. Is the artist mad that it's not yet at the ocean? No, it has to go through the whole journey first. If you want to be part of the playtest for this game or Dwarf Delvers, join my Discord. So where do we go from here? Well, the system gives us a really clean sandbox that we can play around in, and it's really easy to add all sorts of different kinds of content, whether it's new or expanding upon what we already have. So if that sounds interesting to you, follow along and wait for the next video. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my hike. So you guys have a good day, have a great day.